Courage and the boldness that you gain after speaking affirmations over yourself. The more you hear it, the more you believe that it's true.
And welcome to Premier Fitness. I'm Gene Williams, your yoga instructor, and I'm here to tell you about the benefits of yoga.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us. You have just tuned in to Where is the Love? I am your host. I am Stephanie Hockenholm. Joining me is my son, my co-host, Gene Williams.
Hello there, matey. Top of the morning to you.
Hey.
Crocodile Dundee here.
Hey, son, how's it going?
All is well. How about you?
Good. I like that background.
I thank you. I need to show it all the way off one of these days.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Uh,
so it's the band G was in the solar system. You can't see all of that. Yeah, yeah.
I see the solar system and then I see G Whiz under it, social media stuff. Okay, okay. How you
You know,
doing
we're doing
today?
little things here now.
Yeah, I
Excellent,
see.
excellent. I think someone has a great announcement they need to make.
Oh shoot, G. I forgot already, man.
How you gonna forget that? Come on now. Come on now.
Y'all, I am so excited to announce. I need to look at it exactly how it's saying it. As of
Right.
Thursday, I am an international TV producer. I graduated on Thursday. So I'm super excited about that. I'm still in awe about the whole thing. Um, so, yeah. So that's all I'm saying.
Congratulations.
And so I am supposed to be saying I am a multiple international award-winning TV. It's on that network, and I have a studio in Dallas, Texas. So I'm excited. I still am like trying to process it all. It's like, wow, what happened? What's really going on here? So
Yeah.
I'm
You
excited.
dropped a bomb on me, baby.
I love it.
Congratulations, mom.
Thank you. I'm excited. I don't know what to do with it because so much other stuff is going on. So I'm just gonna keep
Right.
coming, Mark. Mark, keep producing our shows. That does not put you out nowhere. We still want you and need you in our lives.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So if you are here, we want you to know you can watch us right now on TV. You can watch us on Roku and on Amazon Fire. And if you're watching on those, you can you need to search podtv.tv and then you'll see the live show right now while we're airing the show. So also you can watch us on website podtv.tv, and you can definitely watch us now and on replays on our YouTube channels, Love Misunderstood Institute and Premier Fitness 0210. So last week we talked about adult bullies. We gave you some tips on how to deal with adult bullies, specifically in the workplace. And we gave you a total of 15 tips on 2 episodes. So go back to episode 90 and 92, and you can see and hear and get those tips on how to deal with adult bullies. This is episode 93. We almost at 100, Doc.
You gotta write it down. I just had to write it down just to see
and
it
look
with my eyes. Like, wow. Right, exactly. Like 93?
at
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. Crazy.
All right, y'all. We have a
So
guest today. We're excited about this guest. He is an author and a rapper, and so he's going to tell us more about that. So, welcome to our show, Todd Davis. Come on in here. Come on
come
in.
on in the
Oh,
room.
hello.
How you doing?
Hello, hello.
Hey,
Excellent.
Todd. How
Glad
are
to have
you?
you, brother.
I am doing well. Thank you for having me today.
For sure. We're excited.
Pleasure.
We're excited.
Me too, definitely.
So tell us about Ty.
Ty Davis. My real name is Taiwan Davis. I was once told that Ty Davis sounds like a New York best-selling author. And since I'm striving to be
Hey,
one, I said, okay, maybe that's the name I go by. Uh,
there you
you
go.
know,
There you go.
I love people. I love the community. Just yesterday, we put on a Gap Bridgers 316 community event where we fed the community. Chick-fil-A partnered with us, so it was like we still had
Awesome.
Chick-fil-A left over. Shout out to them. Gave away prizes, like quite a few $50 gift cards. But I haven't always been a hope dealer. I used to be a dope dealer till Jesus came and changed my life. So I'm a
Amen.
two-time published author. My books are one is A Change Within Me. It is my poetic testimony of how God changed me. And then We Are Made from the Past for Our Future. I don't know if you can see it, but I
Yeah.
talk about just some of the
Yeah.
struggles, the
Beautiful.
battles, even some of the bullying that I went through in my life.
Wow.
Man.
So
Yeah, that's awesome, brother.
I like that from a you're a hope dealer from a dope dealer to a hope dealer. Give the
Yeah.
people some hope, man. I love
There
that.
we go.
Yes,
There we
yes,
go.
and it's free. It's free. You know,
Right,
and it
right,
doesn't
right,
run out. I don't have to
right.
go re-up, you know. It's free,
Right.
right?
There we go. Yes,
So
sir.
Todd, tell
Yes.
us
Love it.
about the event yesterday. I know this was the third annual one, so tell us how you got started doing it. And I was thinking, I think yesterday or earlier today when I met you, it was in 2021. And the reason why I know that is because I wrote my book in 2020, and that was COVID. And then so I met you the end of the next year, which was 2021. So we've known each other now 3 years. But tell us about how you got that event started. Because when I met you, you only had the one book and one CD, and you didn't blow up Waited from that. You got a whole lot more going on since then. So
Yes,
tell
sir. Yes, sir.
So I'll tell you the truth. I was in a getting ahead class, which is um, a budgeting, but also it teaches about hidden rules and different economic classes, but also hidden languages. And it really strives to break generational poverty and turn it to generational
Hmm.
wealth. And at the same
Yes.
time, I was taking a Spark campaign business class. And during the season, it was 2022. I found out just like how Wichita, the 67214 is the poorest zip code, not only in Wichita, but in the whole state of Kansas. And I just wanted to bring people that need resources and people that had the resources together. Just as a small business owner, I know it's sometimes hard to get out there. Even as an author, it's sometimes hard to get out there. So I said,
yeah,
how can I bring the people together? And also, sometimes there's people that go to church and people that don't go to church, but we need each other. So there was a gap. There's often a gap. So the name of my organization is Gap Bridgers. And I remember when God first put it on my heart to plan an event. I have never thought about planning an event. It's a lot of planning, a lot of um, asking, opening up, taking chances because you may have to ask for donations. You have to ask for
Right.
vendors to be present, and due to some of the things I went through, uh,
Go.
just through bullying, I had a fear of rejection. But you know, when God calls us to do something, He's not looking for no excuse. He's looking for obedience. So I planned the first community event in November of 2022, and yeah, it was scary. But you know, God has continued to grow it and build it. And so, anybody watching, I just encourage you that no matter how big the goal or the dream that you have, don't let fear of rejection, don't let bullying or anything. Sometimes people don't want to see you succeed, and they will try to bully you and try to convince you of different lies. You can't make it happen, or
Right.
who do you think you are, or nobody's gonna like that idea. Nobody's gonna support you. That's all a form of bullying.
Yes.
But
Right.
with courage, we overcome that. With courage, faith, and hope, we overcome that.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
That's
good.
beautiful, man. Beautiful.
It is. I'm
Yeah.
excited for you, Todd, because we've come a long way from where we were, you
Yeah, we
know,
have.
Yeah.
and we still have a ways to go. And I was listening to you about the fear of rejection, and I just talked to you about that recently too, about going to people and talking to them. We were talking about the Chick-fil-A, and how they're helping you now, but you've asked them before, but you didn't give up. You went back. And so
Yeah.
I still
Mhm.
have that
Yeah.
some of that fear of rejection is not as uh, it's not as, I can't even think of the word. It's not as heavy. That's not the word, but it's not as heavy on me as
Right.
it was.
Yeah.
I've grown some in that area, so it's not as hard for me to think about asking, because I used to think about asking and just run from the thought. I'm like, no, because
Yes.
they say no, I don't want that. So I still have some issues with that. But I'm excited for you and what you've been doing, and just knowing that this is the third time you've done it. This is your third
Yeah.
annual one. So it's
Yeah.
like, wow.
Yeah, definitely.
So
Yeah. And that's the
congratulations.
lesson of persistence.
Persistence. And one thing that I will share, because I don't think anybody knows, but I look at it like this now. So there's 52 cards in the deck, right? So if you flipped them all over on that face, and you couldn't see what if it was an ace, a jack, a two, or diamond, a club, or whatever, you could take your time and pick up a card. And if it wasn't an ace, let's say it was a two, you could change it to an ace, or you could just go through them as fast as possible to see the aces that you have, because there's four. So after those 52 cards, 4 of them will be an ace.
Yeah,
So the faster you get through your nose, the faster you get to your yeses.
that's good.
Hey, I like that. You say that again? You want to say that one more time?
Yes, sir. Okay. There's 52 cards in the deck, right? If you threw them all out and you could just see the back, you couldn't see if it was an ace, a jack, or two, or whatever, because they was all face down. You could pick up the card, and let's say it was a two. You was looking for all the aces. You could take your time and try to turn that two into an ace with a marker, or you could just go through the whole deck as quick as possible, because no matter what, there's 4 aces in that deck, no matter what. So sometimes we due to a fear of rejection, due to maybe we bully ourselves sometimes with negative thoughts and limitations.
Yes.
But if we take those off and we just say, you know what? I know there's 4 aces in this deck. So the faster I get through these nodes and I get through the cards that aren't aces, I will find my 4 aces. And sometimes that's all it takes.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I like that
I
analogy.
I like that analogy a lot. Yeah, that one hit. That one hit home. That one hit home. Yes,
Jen,
sir.
you want to ask him something?
Yeah. So your event was for teens. Um, so how did you get started, and what was the I guess you would say the thing that inspired you to start work with teenagers?
What started me wanting to work with teenagers is honestly a lot of the things I went through, the bullying, the mistakes, the trying to fit in. One thing I learned along the way is when we born to stand out, we'll never fit in. So
Say that.
so I was a kid who I had a big head, little body, and I couldn't talk. Can you believe that? My parents would tell you they had to put
Yeah,
peanut butter on my lips so I could say certain letters, and I was in speech class and everything. And my
yeah.
name is Taiwan Davis. So the kids they would say talking disability, TD, talking disability. So that was
Oh,
really painful, and I
right.
just I didn't fit in, So looking back on my life now, I can't go back and change the mistakes I made, but if I could help one person avoid going through the same trauma, making the same mistakes, causing their family as much pain as I caused mine, well, it's worth it. So that's what got me working with the youth.
Wow,
That's beautiful. Yeah.
it is.
Yeah, and like the saying goes, each one teach one. You get to help them see ahead potholes and stuff that you stepped in. Um, and that's the beauty of it all. Like if we didn't go through the hardships and the mistakes that we make, we wouldn't have a message to give to anybody. And we all have a message. We're all teachers. We're all students. So you wouldn't have the lesson to teach if you hadn't have been through something. So just the
Amen.
fact that you trying to help some kids, see those potholes ahead of time and circumnavigate as much as possible. That's beautiful because a lot of us don't have that. So thank you for your service.
You're welcome. And I would add, and with the adults, since I've been through so much, some things I probably share, some things I may never share with anybody, that I in 20 was it 22? I actually became an LLC, a licensed ghostwriter, where I help other people share their stories. And a lot of times, you'll be surprised how many people have a story, but they're
Hmm.
afraid of what people would think, even as adults. And that's a form of bullying, It's like, will I be accepted? Because we all want to be accepted, but I think the thing is being accepted by the right people, the people who really
Right.
love us. But we all have a story, but sometimes we're so afraid of what other people would think. We're afraid to share our own stories. But one thing that the things I went through, I feel like it made me more relatable. So there's not too many things a person could tell me that will. I mean, I probably did the same thing. Thank God for grace, right? Um,
Right.
Amen.
you know,
Yeah. Amen to that.
That's good. And the fact that you have the heart to, I want to help you get your story, written too. What's your story? Let's get it written. When we can bypass, uh, like you said, bypass what people think about us and how they feel about us. I feel so much better in my life about that now because I don't care. I used to cry, cry, cry because I cared so much, and I was such a miserable, unhappy person because I tried to fit in. And how'd you say that you can't say that again
when
about
you're
fit?
born to stand out, you'll never fit in.
Hello. So
Hello.
now
Right.
I
Right.
understand
Right.
that,
Right. Right. Right.
and I'm like, hey, y'all do what you're doing. I ain't got nothing to do with how you feel or what you think about me. That's you deal with that because
Yeah.
I'm on something
Yeah.
else, you know.
Right.
And it just makes me so happy and excited, and I'm not a miserable person no more. I'm not an unhappy person, and we know the scriptures say laughter is a good medicine, and I take my dosages every day because I love to laugh.
Amen.
So that's my medication. So in working with, because you are a minister of youth, aren't you?
I'm a youth leader at my church. Yeah, I love the youth. I work with the youth at my church on Tuesday nights. I At First Church in God in Christ. I was a youth leader at Life Church for 3 years. I love that. I love working with them. I've learned also, growth is never found inside of our comfort zone. And it's really easy to have friends and work with people that look like us and think like us and believe like us. But it takes courage to step out the box and say, you know what? You might not look like me, but I want to get to know you. Maybe I can learn something from you. You may not think like me, but maybe I can learn something from you, because I think we could all learn from each other.
Yes.
Right.
Even the youth.
Yes.
We can learn from the youth. And that was the theme of the community event, is bridging the gap, engaging the youth. Because a lot of times it seems like there's a gap between the older generation and the younger generation, and we need each other.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so go ahead, Gene.
I was going to say, and the fact that you realize, that there's a major gap, and personally bridge the gap, like that's a big thing. How was there something that kind of made that pop out in your mind, like seeing those big deficits between mindsets?
It was a transition. I'm gonna rewind just a little bit. I heard Miles Monroe. I like listening to Miles Monroe. He said the richest place on earth is the graveyard. He said there's so much knowledge, so many businesses, so many ideas that people didn't pass on and they took to the grave. And I remember one day I got started writing ghostwriting as tributes to my grandparents after I heard that. And I'm like, you know what? They are very wise. They have came a long way. I don't want my family history to be lost, so let me write their stories. And with that, it just opened it. How many other families, our ancestors or older family, have stories they need to pass on that they would like to pass on, but how many youth are willing to listen as they pass it on, or vice versa? How many older people are willing to say, you might be young, but your feelings still matter. What you're going through it might not be paying bills, but it might be you're getting peer pressure, you're getting bullied at school, you stressing about your grades, you want to get in this college. So that kind of stuck out to me.
That's good. So Mark made the comment, sometimes youth are wiser than we give them credit for, and we can learn a lot from you. I started learning from Gene when he was 2. He was so doggone smart, and he was always making up stories, and me and my mom and her sister was always, what is this child talking about? Just all into what he was saying. And then wonder, where in the heck did he get this from? How, so it was just so amazing, how he was. And so not just with the stories, but even after that. And I've learned a lot from him. And something that stands out so much more now that I've reminded him of is when he used to tell me, Ma, you don't have to respond to everything. Because I would hurt because I want to respond and I didn't, or I didn't have the courage, and the voice to respond to certain things. And I wish I would have said, or wish I could have said, but it was too late. And so he'd tell me, Ma, you don't have to respond to everything. Everything don't require a response. And so that's something that has, that I've been reminded of so much more in the past couple of years because of different things that's going on. And so, sometimes I just don't respond at all to, whatever or whoever, it is. And I feel so much better,
That's
I'm
right.
not racking my brain with what I shoulda, coulda, or woulda said or did, that's not going to help anybody. So, and then I have to remember what, oh shoot, dang it, I can't think of his name. But anyway, you can't respond to the same level of consciousness that something was created on. Or, I can't think of his name. He's a famous person, but so I have to remember, no, if you, respond by yelling at me or attacking me, or if that's how you come to me, I can't respond on that same level of consciousness. I have to, calm it down by not even responding at all. So using those two things together has really helped me to not get so involved and engaged in what somebody's thinking or saying or doing.
Definitely. That makes a lot of sense right there. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So Mark also said we've been having our kids at the Haiti Center learning how to document their family history. The kids in North Carolina are between 8 and 17.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's so important for the tapestry of their lives and everyone that's involved with their with their lineage. A lot of us don't know anything about our families. Which is a tragedy because there's so,
Yeah.
like you said, there's so much, so many businesses, so many great ideas, so that are not even recognized because no one documented it. So just to have that, I mean, in African cultures, they call it the griot. They keep the history of the families and having, uh, in most cultures, and I mean, most families, they have like the older one who's like the oldest person in the family. Then they have the middle person who'll take on the story next, then add to it. Then the child that comes after that is going to carry on the legacy. And and I mean that's awesome, Mark, that they do that at the Haiti program. And it's also dope that you gave people the opportunity to create their family history because
Definitely.
again, it's something that's sorely missing.
I think it's dope what y'all doing as a mother and son tandem. Just having giving people the space and working together. This is legacy. This is how legacies are created. So hats off. If I had a hat off, if I had a hat on, I would say y'all. But hats off to you.
Thank you, Tyler. That's so
Thank
sweet.
you, brother. Thank you.
So we
Yeah.
said when Gene was about 18 years old and in college, or right before he went to college, we said that we were going to work together. I was doing a daycare, had a home daycare, and he was in college because he would come home from college and help me sometimes. When he was out of school, he would help me with the kids. And so we said we're going to have a business together one day, and we didn't know what it was going to be, but we just felt that it was going to happen. And so it was prophesied, just by having that conversation, prophesied into existence
Yeah, that's right.
years later.
Yeah. I don't know if sometimes people recognize this as the power of life and death is in our words, and that
Yeah.
can work for us or that
Yes.
can work against us. And speaking of just mother and son, like I was able to see my mom yesterday at one of my events, and
Awesome.
I remember when I was in prison, having to call her collect, and there was times where I would get in trouble when I was in prison, and she'd be like, "Man, he must have gotten in trouble. He ain't called me in a month." But yesterday, she was like, "Son, you're really doing it, aren't you? I'm really proud of you." And one thing that I said, "Mom, I gave you hell for a long time, so now I'm about to give you heaven." And there's also some promises I made my mom about how successful I was going to be. So that's one thing that I'm striving, to really, really push it.
And
Yeah.
that's so awesome because, as they say, you gave her flowers yesterday,
Right.
Hey,
by,
man.
Yeah.
by saying that, because it means a lot to me to be working with Gene. And so
Same.
he's also he's the treasurer of the board, our board for the nonprofit organization. So he does that too. Um, but just to have his support means a lot to me because I get excited, when I have him and a daughter, and so when they make accomplishments or have accomplishments, I want to be right there. I mean, and they have adult children. you
Right.
know but I
Yeah.
want to still be there to support them. So as much as I can, I'm there to support. So and I want the same thing, from them. Um, so between those two and then my two brothers, if they're there to support me, or if they're there to say, "Hey, sis, you're doing a good job," or "Mom, proud of you," all of that means a lot to me coming from those four. So I'm just grateful to be able to do business, with my son, and then for us to have experienced, some of the same things, as far as bullying, and then to be able to talk about it and to share with people, about it, and to teach people and encourage people. You can get through this. We did, you know. Um, it means a lot. It's huge to us. So I'm grateful that we have this platform, to be able to do that, to help people, because it's big for us to help each other. And he has his own business, sis, that he's doing. So, Gene, tell him tell Ty about you, what you do.
Yeah. So one of my businesses is Premier Fitness Incorporated. We just got incorporated this year.
I see
So
you.
I'm a personal trainer, a yoga
He
instructor.
said,
Yeah, right, right. Yoga instructor, yoga Pilates instructor, nutritional counselor. Yeah, okay, there we go. That was it for that one.
musician.
Yeah, so I've been always, well, I mean that's next. So yeah, so also I'm a musician, uh, lead singer of and rhythm guitar player for a soulful rock band here in the city of Memphis, Tennessee. Um, what else do I do? Modeling, acting, okay, all of that stuff. That's the extra fun stuff.
Yeah.
Acting, modeling. So
Proud of you, man. You're putting in that
hey,
work,
proud of you
man.
too, brother. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah,
I shared.
appreciate it.
I'm leading the men's class on Thursday nights. It's usually on the average about 13. I told them last week, if I had a bottle, you buy let's say a bottle of water, because we all need H2O, right? And if
Right,
it's full, you don't want to just throw it away, right? Or else that's a waste, right?
right,
But
right,
you
right.
want to drink all the water out, and there's an empty bottle. So we want to leave
Right.
this earth empty. We don't want to be
Empty.
full when we
Yes.
go to
Yeah.
meet God. You know what I'm saying? I want to be empty, and it sounds like y'all do as
Yep.
well.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Yeah. It's like the story of the talents. You got to give everything. And the more you grow in one area, you get other skills, and that just helps you grow and become a better person. Makes a bigger impact because the more you expand, the more you are able to bless other people. So it's like we all are in the business of healing others.
Yeah,
If you really think about, it. We're all healers.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Mark made a couple comments here. One is, he said his mom homeschooled him for a couple of years. He said she told me, we vexed each other so much, it's a miracle we didn't hurt each other. And then he said she and dad homeschooled me because they wanted me to learn African studies, and school didn't teach it. So they took me out to
Right.
be homeschooled.
Mm.
And then he said more mom than
That's
dad. And
good.
then he said, but mom is my biggest supporter. She even helped him deal with some relationship bullies in his life. And so
Right.
Jean and I both I homeschooled Jean, and Keisha is my daughter. So I did homeschool Jean. Well, I homeschooled both of them for a year, and then I homeschooled my daughter an additional half a year. Um, so they went back to school I homeschooled them for 1 year. They went back to school, and then the first semester of the following year, I took my daughter out and homeschooled her again, because popularity was her thing. And I was like, no, it's school is gonna be your thing. So
Yes.
I was very
Yeah.
angry about that for a long time. So, and then Gene homeschooled his son and his daughter. And so you know, we thought homeschooling, and part of the reason, the main reason I homeschooled them for that year is because Gene experienced a lot of bullying in his 6th grade year. So I was like, you're not going back to that school next year. So then I homeschooled him. So, and then Gene, you can talk about your, your reason for homeschooling your kids.
Yeah. I mean, for me, the homeschooling thing was more about just giving them a prime education, giving them information and teaching them skills that, we'd never learn in a public school, you know, budgeting, African history, psychology, things like that, things that, we don't get to learn in school. So it's like, I know that I'm going to be focused on giving them the best so that when they get out into the world as adults, they'll be well prepared. And I feel like, that's the goal of every parent. You want to provide your kids with whatever is going to help them shine and not have to learn a lot of stuff on the back end. So, that's why for me, I did it.
That's good. Mark said he believed it was 4th and 5th grade for him that he was homeschooled. So people don't think about the effects of bullying and how it really impacts people, how it can impact you. So you talked a little bit, Ty, about being a kid and how they bullied you. What about as an adult? Being in business or just as an adult, period, some of your bullying experiences that you recalled as you read the list of the different types of bullies?
As an adult, I don't face too much bullying because I've learned to stand up, and I will say, but sometimes exclusion, because I believe in Jesus Christ. And sometimes because of that, people want to exclude me out the room or not invite me to the table.
Right.
But I've learned to make my own table.
There you go.
I mean, I've been fired from jobs for different reasons. Maybe, and there's a time and place for everything. So I'm not trying to preach a sermon when we should be working, but there are definitely some, especially in this world we live in, sometimes people will want to exclude you, and that's a form of bullying.
Yes.
Just because you might not pacify them, or you might not agree with them, or be the case, or you might not look like them. People sometimes, that's one thing about the Getting Ahead class is that there's discrimination. There's discrimination. That's a form of bullying, and I guess maybe I have, I have just okay. It's changed forms because now it's discrimination. It's not like it's changed form, but like being a black man driving in a certain neighborhood, the police might get behind me and follow me for 2 miles. But now I can lag. I'm like, you don't know who you're messing with. You know what I'm saying? And but that could be a form of bullying, And then if they do pull you over, you're almost scared because you don't want to make the wrong move. The average person is probably scared. You got to keep your hand on the 10 and 2. And that's a form of bullying. But not all cops is bad cops. I'm not saying that either. But I'm just talking about discrimination can be a form of bullying.
Yes. It's verbal bullying. When you're talking about somebody's race negatively, that is verbal bullying. And then the isolation and, excluding you, a social bullying and anti-social bullying. And so those things does happen, a lot. And some people don't even realize that is bullying, but it is. Mark said a couple things here. He said he never experienced it himself, but he heard that the prison system is full of bullies, ranging from the different cliques to the guards?
Well, let me break that down. Is okay. Yeah. See, I've been out, thank God, for 7 years, and
Congratulations.
I from 16 to 35, I was in and out of prison. Believe it or not, I tell some people, I'm like, for real? Yeah, that's my mama.
Yeah.
But yeah, in prison there is forms of bullying, gangs. That could be a form of bullying because I'm going to rewind a little bit. When I was younger, like I had gotten in trouble and I had ended up in a juvenile facility, and it was crazy because I wasn't in a gang. I had just got caught up in with the wrong crowd, and due to that, I was in trouble, and I had to go through 16 months. But while I was there, these guys, they was in gangs, and like it was open dorms, and it was crazy. I remember there was 3 guys who really tried to jump me, and they was jumping me. I used to have to fight them every night, and they would use like locks and socks. And when I got out, it made me feel like I needed a protection. Like, well, that's if I would never go through that again. So maybe I need to be in a gang, you know? And it was the people I was already around was in a gang, so it was like easy for me to get in a gang. But then the gang, you might get in as you're young, but usually it's your whole life, and most of the time people die out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Jumped out or hurt out, and just because you get in prison, that means it only gets worse. But I gave my life to Christ when I was in prison. That's why a lot of my old friends still respect me, because that takes a lot of courage. And I have to say, only God gave me that courage to to hang up my flag when I was in prison. But definitely that's a form of bullying. And the guards sometimes, because when different states have different requirements, different laws, but when sometimes money talks. A lot of time money talks. You know what I'm saying? So you got enough of this, you can you can finagle your way in different. And I ain't trying to say too much, but you can finagle different systems.
Yeah,
you can finagle different systems. So yes, that is a form of bullying, discrimination, favoritism, due to if you got the haves and have-nots. And that's going back to the community events, because sometimes people have and they want to be a blessing, and sometimes people have not and they want to know where to go. So
wow. Yeah. So Mark also said, Gene, you want to add something to that?
Well, yeah, I was actually going to ask you about your music next.
Oh, so let me say what Mark said here first. So Mark said profiling is definitely a form of bullying, and also profiling because of a person's past can be a form of bullying. So true. So I just wanted to read what he said here. So go ahead, Gene, with the music question or whatever you want to ask.
Yeah. So I know as an art, I can imagine as a person who's creative, you take your experiences and find a way to it's like I can't remember the saying how it goes, but it's like as poets you find a way to make beautiful the mundane things of life. And I know that with your art you write those experiences in an amazing way that like just that blesses people. So do you mind talking about
that? I've been a writer since I was in 4th grade. I actually won a short story contest, but I didn't take it serious. And then I went to prison, and I always said they could lock up my body, but they'll never lock up my mind. So I use writing as an escape, but I didn't take it serious. I had probably about so many poems, 50, 100. And I gave them away the first time I got out. But I said, if I come back to prison, I'm going to take it serious. So about 10 months later, I was back, and I was like, okay. I had to scratch my head.
Time to take it serious.
Trying to take it serious. But along the way, you know, my first book, The Change Within Me, the reason I titled The Change Within Me, because I realized that if I wanted to see a change, it had to begin within me. And I chose my first book to be a book of poetry because I felt like, well, who am I? I have to get my name known out there first. So let me go this way. Poetry it comes from the heart. It has no boundaries. It's like a blank canvas. You can make it what you want to. So I said with this poetry, I can make it short and sweet, give people maybe they get some buzz going, get a little exposure, and get people's attention. And then after I first published my book, I was a member of just like Christian music group. They was the rappers, they were singers. I'm not a rapper. I am a spoken word artist. So I like that spoken word. So if you poetry shows,
right.
Yeah. So my homeboy's like, why don't you come over and record some of your poetry? You can go with your book. So I recorded some of my poetry, and then he put music to it, and then it just took off ever since.
That's good.
That's awesome.
Hey, Ty, will you do the change within me? The poem. Do you mind?
Okay.
If you didn't do it, I was gonna put him on the spot.
Well, I've heard him do the change. He's done some of his poetry, but
Awesome.
that's just one I remember well.
Gotcha.
I do not remember what that. Give me a little minute.
I choose another one. That's fine. I should have had your book right in front of me, so I could have, looked.
Can I do my letter to Christ?
Yes.
Okay. I start this off by saying thank you for making me whole, by freely giving me a love that's more precious than gold. Before I met you, I was out of control. I didn't know my role. I was physically enslaved. I was mentally oppressed. I had one foot in the grave. I was consumed by stress. I had no reason to strive to stay alive. So I found myself wishing to die. Countless nights I cried due to disappointments and numerous lies. My struggles seemed magnified. I was angry and bitter inside on the verge of suicide. Then one day I met you. We slowly began to chill. You were easy to talk to, and your compassion was oh so real. I began to open up and reveal my secrets and dreams. And the more I open up, the more I healed, it seems. You shared words I had never heard. You gave me visions of the life I deserve. This instilled value and took away my shame, which allowed me to break free of the bondage of pain. Through you, I gained the courage to make a change. Now, everybody who knew me, my mama, my old friends, my wife, they tell me I'm not the same. I proclaim the only reason I'm still breathing, no longer a heathen, the devoted to cheating, polluting my body with drugs, because a person who took away my hate and replaced it with love. So this dedication is to the person who saved my life by paying the ultimate price. This is my dedication to Jesus Christ.
Wow! Yes.
Beautiful. It's not for you.
Ask him
That
a
was
question
beautiful,
before
brother.
I ask him to do another one.
Man, I love not only the words but the emotion behind it. You can tell that like I said, you're putting your passion into your work, and that's what people need. People need to see, like I've transformed this pain, this this chaos into something beautiful, and that's what people need. People need that positive message, because it can get dark out here. Like the part where you said you have thought about committing suicide. Like people experience that stuff, um, every day. Have those ideations because of the struggle that they're going through. So just even you saying that, lets people know that you can get to the other side of that.
Amen.
So thank
Can I
you.
share
Thank
one
you
more
for that
thing?
work.
Yeah.
I
Bro,
want
as
to
many,
share on the
as
back
many
of
as you
this,
want to.
and why I called it "We Are Made from the Past for Our Future." My friends, our past doesn't cancel us. They're the fire in which we're forged and which we're made strong, and how we're moved along on this journey to the people we're supposed to be. We learn as much about who we are through failure as we do success. No, we're not canceled, we're created. More importantly, these lessons help us acquire the tools to do what God has called us to do. Through sharing my past, my lessons, my trauma, how I came to be the person I am today, with the message I'm called to share, I hope to empower you to be courageous, to walk in faith, and to see your past and yourself in a way that maybe you never have before. Not to judge, but to learn, to grow, to empower, and eliminate thought and behavior patterns that are holding us back. We have to be motivated, ready to be active, willing to remain dedicated, and willing and strong enough to share our experiences. Yes, we must be made from the past for our future.
Wow.
Brother. Yeah.
Hey.
Needed that. Thank you for that. Thank you. Needed that. Seriously.
Amazing.
Yeah. Yep. Needed to hear that.
So,
That touched my heart. Thank you.
Jen, you want to say something else?
Man, I don't know what to say. Just again, I just reiterate for a third time, Captain Redundant here. Man, I just appreciate your work, and just you again, transmuting the experiences that you have gone through into an art form that blesses. And every time, I guarantee you, every time you do those poems, you touch somebody else and you give them that aha moment, because it was just like, it's like almost like you were speaking about my life. So just, I know that other people feel that. So thank you.
I appreciate that. I believe in key words. And one thing, like I told you about the Getting Ahead class, it's called the aha process. So when you just say aha, that was like a key word, like, because that's what I'm striving to do. Because I remember when the lights came on in my head, it was crazy. Because like I said, I was in prison. But everybody around me thought I was crazy, because I was like, I'm free. Thank you, Lord. I'm happy. I'm like, the lights came on, the blinders fell off, and people are around me. They're like, man, this dude is crazy. He got to be high off drugs. But it was an aha moment that I knew at that point my life would never be the same.
Amen.
Yeah.
That's such a blessing. Such a powerful statement. You knew your life would never be the same. I had my aha moment, and that was, so that, using the word Mark used, that's amazing.
Amazing.
That is definitely good. And so one of the questions I want to ask you is about the youth and the adults that you work with. Do you encourage them as a form of releasing and expressing themselves onto paper by writing poetry, writing their feelings and making it poetry or spoken word? Do you do that? Is that?
I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Urban League here in Wichita, but I have connected with Dash Care 2 and Grandpa's Reading Club, Dennis Fauntleroy. But one thing about a lot of I do try to encourage writing, but I also share that there's other ways to get that off your chest. It could be working out, like bro, he's like an Incredible Hulk. I see you. It could be listening to music. It could be rapping. It could be going to play basketball, because this life, unfortunately, does sometimes create a lot of stress, a lot of care that we carry, and we gotta have time to a way to relieve that stress. But I always think, I will say this definitely. If you are dealing with things from the past or unforgiveness or resentment, it is sometimes best to write those things down and then burn them. And I've done it. I thought it was just I don't know. I tried it. I was like, is this really gonna work? And it does make you feel better, because you'll be surprised. If you just start writing, like take 10 seconds, just say, I'm gonna write everything that come to mind. you might start writing. You might write a book. I
Yeah.
might just gave somebody a way to start writing a book.
Yeah.
But there's so much things that we have in us that if we could just put them down on paper, and if they're bad, just burn them to release them. It's therapeutic.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing that up because when we get done with this show, that's some thoughts were coming to mind during this show of things that, and I thought in the past few days about that. I don't remember if something happened to remind me of, writing things and then burning them. But this is not the first time that this thought has came to mind in the last 3 or 4 days. So I'm going to do that when we are done because I got to let some stuff go. So thank you for that. So, Gene, you have something else you want? Go ahead, Ty.
We connected.
Yeah.
Every time we
Yeah,
talk,
I was thinking,
God be speaking through both. He's connected us. I love it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. I
I was gonna say
received
that's the confirmation right there.
yes, and I'm gonna handle it.
Yeah.
Amen.
So, Gene, did you want to ask him something? Gene? Oh,
Man, I'm grateful for everything you said. Can you hear me? Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just grateful for everything you said. Everything again, it was like I can see myself in everything that you said. I did want to say not a question, but I did want to say going back to your situation where you were freed. Uh, Other people around you were thinking that you're crazy, and but you kept going on your journey, and you kept developing, you kept growing, and so with that, I want to say to go along with that is just dare to be crazy, dare to be different. It's
Yes.
those people who are different who set the stage for the next level of growth for those
Yeah.
around us. So dare to be weird. Weird is beautiful. Weird is beautiful.
Yes.
yeah. And people are always gonna think something of you that's doesn't necessarily have to be true in the first place. So you just have to accept it or ignore it and keep going. And so once you learn how to do either or of those things, whichever one is best, then you'll be feeling a whole lot better. Ty, would you do one more? We're at the end of our show. And so almost we only have a couple minutes. So do you mind sharing one more? Doing one more spoken word?
I'm gonna share this fight to the end. I want this to encourage you, and I'm gonna change it just a little bit. We will not break, fold, nor bend, because we are determined to fight to the end. We will fight for the freedom for our ideas to be expressed in new ways, unfazed by others' opinions or what they may say. We will fight to the end, but those who feel rejected, we'll let them know only as individuals should we be accepted. Because if we are not accepted for who we are, why be accepted at all? And if we don't stand for something, we will always fall. We will fight for the freedom of our ideas to be expressed in new ways. Again, I say unfazed by others' opinions or what they may say. We will fight for the children who inherit the earth, as well as the men and women who gave us birth. We will fight to the end for a better past, for a better future than what our past has been. But most importantly, we will fight to the end.
Amen. All right.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Very encouraging words. Thank you.
And there was do I travel? I am waiting on the opportunity. I do see that in the future. It says God will open a door that no man could shut.
Yes.
And I just 2025, this is leap year. 2024. This is 2024. It's about to be 2025. But this is leap year, right? When you think about February had 29 days this year. So this is leap year.
Right.
So I just want to encourage everyone to leap out in faith and don't let our past, bullying, fear of rejection, or anything hold us back, because it's time that we really fulfill our destiny.
Awesome. Thank you
Yes,
so
sir.
much.
Yes, sir.
And so how can you
Amen to
reach
that.
Ty? You can reach Ty at tydavisservices.com. We are at the end of our show. Ty, we appreciate you coming. We appreciate everything that you shared, the encouragement to keep going no matter what. And so thank you again for being on our show. So we send you away. So we will be here next Sunday at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. Wherever you're watching us from, you can watch us there again. So we send you away with peace. Peace. Trying to get it in there so they can see it and love.
Peace and love.
All right. Take care. Thank you, Ty, so much. I'll talk to you soon.